and welcome. It is Tuesday, so it's our Tuesday talk, and today we're going to be talking about what happens at the Promesse de Vente. So when you're at the notaire's office. So over to you, Suzanne.
So firstly, you can choose to come over for the Promesse de Vente, or you can sign it remotely by electronically. So if you choose, you can't come over and you choose to sign it electronically, we will have to have the power of attorney document translated into English for you, if that's your main language. There's usually a fee of about €180, which you will pay for that. And it means then that you're allowing the notaire to sign for that purchase on your behalf. If you've got a choice of coming for two appointments, either the Promesse de Vente, which is the equivalent of exchanging contracts in the UK, or the completion appointment, you're actually probably better to come to the Promesse de Vente. In that time, you can have asked to see a draft of that contract before. It will be provided, but it's in French, so we can help with that, but just running it through an online translator, so that you can familiarise yourself with it in advance. But other than that, we would normally go to the notaire's office. Either we would try to use an English-speaking notaire for you, in which case it would be explained to you in English. And if not, if that's not available, or a choice that's available on the day, then we'll have a translator there for you, a court sworn translator who will translate what the notaire is saying. It gives you an opportunity to go through that contract. So the contract at that time, as long as vendors and buyers are in agreement, it can be changed. Any small errors of spelling or postcode or whatever else can be altered at the time. And at the same time, the notaire will go through everything with you in terms of any rights of way, the diagnostic reports, the environmental reports, and the actual terms of the contract itself. So of either of the appointments, there's very little that takes place between that appointment and then the completion appointment. So if you've got a choice of either one to go to that first one, and then you can sign a power of attorney document with the notaire to allow him to complete the purchase for you, so that you don't have to come back for the second one. You can then pick the keys up at your convenience. Mm-hmm. It's likely to take about an hour. You can come with any questions that you have. It may be that you want to speak to the notaire briefly about how best to arrange the purchase to suit your personal circumstances, in case of a remarriage or no children, or separate children. So that's a good opportunity to discuss it as well. The only thing that then gets done between the Promesse de Vente, well, not really the only thing, but main things between the Promesse de Vente and then completion, is the equivalent of the local search, a land registry search to make sure there's no charges on the property, and also the SAFAIR, or anyone with a right of preemption has to be notified, and that period has to be gone through, and then it complete. During that time, we as agents don't have a huge amount of control, so we can chase it up, we can find out what's happening, what date the final date is for the delay for the SAFAIR, for example, but actually that file is then over with the notaire, so we're checking with them and chasing the sale with them.
And there's not much that, like you say, there's not much that goes on between that time, as in to report back, in fact.
No, they have to do the no, basically they're doing all those works that we just talked about,
exactly,
and preparing the final deed, but there's not a lot that we can tell you that's happening.
Okay.
We try to fix the date for completion at that first appointment as well. So we try to tie in and make sure that the vendors and buyers are happy, and fix the completion date, so that we've got as much notice as possible for everybody to make their arrangements.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you. Bye-bye.